Welcome to this space. It's a great pleasure to have you here. If you're listening to this, it's not by chance. Today, instead of wasting your time on social media, the latest viral meme, or news that doesn't contribute anything, you've made a conscious decision to invest in the most valuable thing you own. And I'm not talking about your wallet, I'm talking about your mind. So, I want to congratulate you for being here. Today, we're going to dive into a concept that sounds small, almost insignificant, but that, believe me, has the power to completely rewrite your financial history, the 1% rule. This isn't an episode of abstract theory. It's a practical guide. I'll give you real stories that will touch your heart, examples so clear you can see them in your daily life, exact steps to help you leave here with a plan and, most importantly, a mindset that will stay with you forever. But before we begin, I have a small favor to ask. If this type of content resonates with you and you want to continue on this path of growth and freedom, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss a single video, and leave your like. Not only will you help this message reach more people who need it, but you'll also ensure that you receive new strategies every week to achieve the life you deserve. Now, settle in, make yourself a drink, open your mind and your heart, because what you're about to hear today may be the turning point you've been looking for. Module 1, The Legacy of a Devastated Country, the Origin of Kaizen and the 1%. To understand the power of the 1%, we have to travel back in time and space. Let's go to Japan, just after World War II. The country was in ruins. Entire cities devastated, the economy destroyed, a sense of hopelessness had gripped the nation. They had no resources, no capital, almost nothing. But they had something more powerful, an unbreakable mindset. They adopted a principle that would change everything, Kaizen. This Japanese word translates as continuous improvement. But it wasn't the improvement you imagine, they weren't looking for a gigantic change overnight. No, their strategy was much more subtle and powerful. They focused on making small daily adjustments, improving 1% here, optimizing another 1% there. It was a slow, steady process, almost imperceptible in the short term. But that discipline, applied day after day, year after year, was what transformed Japan from a country in ruins into one of the most innovative and resilient economic and technological powers in the world. Now, what if we applied that same principle to your financial life? Think about this. If you set aside just 1% of what you earn today, you wouldn't even feel it in your pocket. It wouldn't hurt, it wouldn't deprive you of anything important. But you know what? You would feel it in your future. And not just in your finances, but in your mindset. That's the kind of discipline that doesn't require superhuman willpower. It's so small that your brain doesn't even have time to resist it. Here's a question for you to reflect on. What would you prefer? Try a gigantic change that lasts only a month, like starting to save 50% of your salary and failing, or make a tiny change, like 1%, that you can maintain for a lifetime. Leave your answer in the comments. I want to know what kind of person you are, one of those who look for shortcuts and get frustrated, or one of those who build a solid future, brick by brick, step by step. If you haven't already, I remind you that subscribing and activating the bell is a crucial step to continue on this path. On this channel, we're going to break down and apply strategies as simple yet transformative as this one on a weekly basis. Module 2, The Science Behind Habits, the Psychology of the 1%. Listen carefully, money isn't earned with math alone. It's earned with psychology. In fact, your relationship with money is more a matter of habits and beliefs than numbers. And the 1% rule works precisely because it addresses the root of the problem. It trains your brain to create a positive habit. Let me give you an example we all understand. Have you ever tried to start exercising? If your goal was to go from the couch to running 10 kilometers on your first day, you almost certainly failed. You felt exhausted, sore, frustrated, and probably never tried again. But what if you had started with a simple 10-minute walk a day? You could probably do it every day. And little by little, those 10 minutes turn into 15, then 20, and after a few months, exercise is no longer a chore, it's part of who you are. It becomes your identity. The exact same thing happens with money. 1% is the equivalent of those 10 minutes of walking. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't weigh you down, it doesn't require an immense sacrifice, but it builds something invaluable, a new identity. The identity of someone who saves, who invests, who cares for their future, who doesn't spend every penny they get their hands on. Here's a question to reflect on: what financial identity are you building today? That of someone who says, "I can't afford it," and resigns themselves, or that of someone who says, "I always save, even if it's just a little," and empowers themselves? If this resonates with you, if you feel this is the mindset you need, I ask you to like this video right now. It's a way of telling the universe, and me, that this is the kind of message you need and want to keep hearing. Module 3, The Silent Power of Time, the Multiplier Effect. The 1% is powerful, but its true superpower is revealed when it works in tandem with time. Together, they create the miracle of compound interest. Let's do an imagination exercise. Let's suppose that, starting today, you decide to save just $1 each day. You save $1. After a year, you'll have $365. It doesn't seem like much, right? It's an amount many of us spend on a single meal. But what if instead of keeping it under your mattress, you decide to invest it? If you invest that money, with a conservative annual growth rate of 10%, and continue investing $1 a day for 30 years, do you know how much you'd have? More than $66,000. And that's with just $1 a day. Whether that 1% represents $2, $5, or $10 a day, the results are exponential. What seems small, what seems insignificant, becomes gigantic when you give it time to grow. Think of this visual metaphor: imagine a drop of water falling on a rock. For a single day, the drop does nothing. For a month, it does nothing. For a year, almost nothing. But after a decade, a century, that drop has pierced the rock. That's the power of the 1% and its tireless work over time. Time doesn't pass, time composes. Module 4, Real-Life Stories, the Transformation of Ordinary People. We often think that wealth and financial freedom are for people with special talents, inheritances, or luck. I want you to forget that idea right now. Most financially free people didn't get there by chance. They got there through discipline. And I'm not just telling you this, these stories prove it. Maria, a single mother who worked as a sales clerk and earned just enough. Her situation seemed impossible. But every week, she religiously set aside $5. It didn't affect her budget, but it was an unbreakable commitment. 10 years passed, and those small savings, along with their interest, not only got her out of debt, but also allowed her to build an emergency fund that gives her the peace of mind to sleep peacefully, knowing that, no matter what happens, her family is protected. Andres, a college student on a very tight budget. Instead of spending on fancy coffees or the latest video game console, he set aside the equivalent of that expense and invested it. Today, at 30, he has investments exceeding $100,000, a cushion that has allowed him to start a business without fear. Luis, an immigrant who arrived in a new country with nothing. His first job was as a waiter. With his 1% discipline, he first paid off debts, then saved enough for a deposit, and finally invested in a small food business that today employs 10 people. The 1% rule not only gave him financial freedom, but also time freedom. These people didn't have special advantages. They weren't financial geniuses. They had something far more valuable, the discipline of small. And you have exactly the same ability. I invite you to write in the comments, "I'm also starting with my 1%. Let's make this a public promise to yourself and the community. And of course, subscribe and share this video to keep contributing to this movement. Module 5, From Idea to Action, a 5-step plan to start today. You've got the concept. Now, it's time to put it into practice. I'm going to give you an action plan so simple and clear that you'll have no excuse not to start as soon as this video ends. Step 1, calculate your starting point. Open the calculator on your phone. Calculate your total monthly income. Be honest with yourself. If it varies, take an average. Step 2, subtract 1%. Multiply that number by 0.01. That's the exact amount of money you're going to set aside. It's such a small number that it'll seem ridiculous. Perfect. That's the key. Write it down on paper, in your planner, or on a note on your phone. Step 3, open a separate account. It can be a digital savings account, an investment fund, or anything. The important thing is that it's a separate account from where you keep your daily spending money. This is your 1% account. Your freedom account. Step 4, set up an automatic debit. This is the most important part. The best discipline is the one that doesn't require your willpower. If you have to remember to do it, you're more likely to fail. Schedule an automatic transfer of that amount you calculated, from your main account to your 1% account, for the day you receive your income. Make it invisible. Step 5, don't touch it. Ever. This money is untouchable. It's your future. It's the seed of your freedom. If you ever need money, find another solution, but don't touch this fund. It's sacred. The key isn't the amount you save, it's consistency. Today it's 1%. In a year, when you feel more comfortable, you can increase it to 2%. Then, 5%. And one day, without realizing it, you'll be saving and investing 20% or more of your income without feeling like you're depriving yourself of anything, because your brain will have already created the habit. Module 6, More Than Money, the 1% Mindset. The 1% rule isn't just about money. It's a message you send to yourself every day. It's a powerful affirmation that says, I am capable of controlling my finances. I am capable of building my future. I am capable of managing money wisely. Most people live in a scarcity mindset. They constantly repeat phrases like, I don't have enough money, money is for the rich, I'll never get out of debt, money is bad. These thoughts are like prisons that prevent you from growing. But every time you set aside that 1%, you change your internal dialogue. You tell your mind, with every action, I can save, I can invest, I am building my freedom. And your mind, receiving this message over and over again, begins to seek out and create opportunities for that to be true. And when you change your mindset, you change your decisions. And when you change your decisions, you change your destiny. It's a virtuous cycle that begins with a single step. If you want to continue learning how to reprogram your mind for abundance, give this video a like. Because we're not just talking numbers here, we're talking about how to become the person money wants to follow. Module 7, 30-Day Challenge. I don't want all of this to remain a good idea. I want you to make it a reality. That's why I'm launching a personal challenge for you, the 30-Day 1% Challenge. For the next 30 days, I propose that you commit to setting aside 1% of your income, without fail. It doesn't matter if it's a lot or a little, what matters is that you do it every day. You can use an app, a notebook, or simply a note on your phone. At the end of the 30 days, I invite you to come back to this video and leave a comment telling me how you feel. Did you notice any change? Do you feel more in control? Has your mindset changed? I want you to share your progress with me. Remember, discipline isn't about the willpower you have, but about the system you've built. And the 1% is the simplest and most powerful system you can create. Conclusion, your future awaits you. Today you discovered a secret that great entrepreneurs, elite athletes, and wealthy people already know and apply. It's not the amount of money that makes you rich, but the consistency of your actions. The 1% rule is a simple tool, but its potential to transform your life is endless. Always remember, greatness isn't about what you do once in a while, but about what you do every day. And starting today, I want you to make a commitment to yourself, a commitment to start with your 1%. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because every day you let pass is a missed opportunity to build the future you want. I invite you once again to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and share this video with someone who needs it. Together, we can create a community of conscious, free, and abundant people. And never forget, change doesn't begin in your bank account. Change begins in your mind. Thank you for being here. See you in the next episode, where we'll continue building the life you've always dreamed of.